Over a century has passed since the beginning of the First World War, yet the way it shaped who we are as Australians and how we choose to go forward remains as important to our country today as it was in 1914. The acronym MAIN is commonly used to abbreviate some of the key causes of World War I: militarism, alliances, imperialism, and nationalism. What exactly do these terms mean? Militarism, now seen as a negative concept, is the opinion that a country should have a strong military force and use this to pursue power or interests. This differs from imperialism in that imperialism seeks to gain power over territories through any means, such as political or economic control, not only military conquest. An alliance is an agreement between two or more parties that provides military, economic, and/or political benefit to all involved. Nationalism, which emerged in the late 19th century, is defined as a fierce loyalty to one's country, supporting its interests and culture, often to the point of ostracism or perceived superiority over other nations. While none of these causes alone can account for the outbreak of war, each aspect exacerbated enmity and paranoia across the European continent and well into the reaches of the British Empire. The global stage at the beginning of the 20th century has often been described as a powder keg awaiting a spark. Decades of tension had been building as European nations, in a bid to outdo one another, poured funds into military strength. Alliances between major powers seemed to only further strain relationships soured by the familial politics of the three most influential royal cousins in the world: King George V of Great Britain, Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, and Tsar Nicholas II of the Russian Empire. Towards the end of the 19th century, European empires had increased vastly in wealth and influence through the control of global territories. Having only been unified in 1871, Germany was desperate to become an empire as great as Britain, but was extremely late to the race. While Germany was only a fledgling power in this age of empires, others, like the Ottoman Empire, had begun their decline. The established empires of Austria-Hungary and Russia saw opportunity in the newly independent Balkan nations that began to form from the former colonies of the Ottomans. Germany too wished to expand its territories, and Chancellor Otto von Bismarck arranged the Berlin Conference as an attempt to avoid conflict while European powers divided and colonized the African continent. Unfortunately for Bismarck, many nations ignored the agreed rules when their interests were threatened, further provoking hostilities in Europe. On the European continent, conflict was no stranger between the nations and empires. The strength of any neighboring state was enough to encourage the people and their rulers to begin to invest more and more in military might, even to the point of prioritization of the military over the civilian population for the sake of military dominance. This military dominance was supported by the peoples of many powerful European nations in the late 19th century, and became only more feverishly promoted with the prospect of war. The explosion of pressure in 1914 had been brewing across Europe for decades prior. After the French defeat in 1870 by the Prussian-led German states, Germany sought to maintain dominance and protection by forming an alliance with the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The French, embarrassed and fearful of retaliation, also began to make alliances in order to safeguard themselves from a German invasion. In the decades preceding 1914, France had allied itself with the powerful empires of Russia and Great Britain through the Entente Cordiale and the Franco-Russian Alliance. Sharing a border with Russia and with the British Empire at the height of its naval might, it is understandable how Kaiser Wilhelm II began to feel threatened, being surrounded by these alliances, and this fueled his aggressive foreign policy and military expansion. Within the European continent, Germany was not the only newly recognized nation, but this state of nationhood was incredibly envied by others who were still only considered a smaller piece of another empire. One such nation was Bosnia, which had been annexed by Austria-Hungary from the Ottoman Empire in 1908. Unhappy with their treatment under Austria-Hungary, many Bosnians wished to unite their country with the independent nation of Serbia. Serbia's radical organization, known as the Black Hand, worked to train members as assassins in anticipation of a royal visit from the Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie to Sarajevo on 28th of June 1914. The initial attempt on the lives of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife failed when a bomb bounced off their car and instead detonated under the car following them. The couple rushed to the safety of the town hall, where they recuperated momentarily and then decided to visit those who were injured in the attack. Once again in the car, the Archduke and his wife found themselves accidentally on their previous route. The driver attempted to correct his mistake by turning the car around in an alley, placing the royals right in the opportune firing line of a young Bosnia assassin known as Gavrilo Princip. Princip fired 2 shots, killing both Ferdinand and Sophie. This was the spark that ignited the powder keg, tested the strength of militaries, ensnared nations in a complex network of alliances, and triggered the collapse of the delicate peace of Europe formed over the previous 4.5 decades. A month after the assassination, the declarations happened in quick succession. On the 28th of July 1914, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. On the 30th of July 1914, Russia mobilized its military forces. On the 31st of July 1914, Australia's Prime Minister Joseph Cook, who was in election mode at the time, declared, "When the Empire is at war, so is Australia at war." On the 1st of August 1914, Germany declared war on Russia. On the 3rd of August 1914, Germany declared war on France. On the 4th of August, Britain declared war on Germany. World War I has begun, and Australia, as a dominion of the British Empire, willingly joined and entered into the war.